maybe coming down, or at least they'll be under 145% on China. And then obviously, Tesla missed on a lot of things, but I'm seeing like memes online of people throwing their this book called The Intelligent Investor. They're like, basically like Tesla misses on X, Y, and Z, throw the book away, right? It just doesn't make sense. But it's just Tesla, right? Tesla's like a story stock, like it's catalyst driven a lot of the times. So just like Michelle said, the earnings call kind of sold the whole earnings thing, right? So they had the story about also Elon just saying that he is going to spend more time. Hang on one sec here. He's going to spend more time away from Doge and more on Tesla. So that was a positive thing. I don't know why Meta did really well, to be honest with you. Yeah, people are kind of staying away from that. Interesting. Yeah, so it could be as simple as that, guys. It's pretty crazy. It's the markets, if you try to make it like a math equation and like if this happens, this should happen. It doesn't have to make sense. Yeah, well, I mean, they are. A lot of their vehicles are made in the U.S., so tariffs aren't going to affect them as much as a lot of people think. So definitely, just an interesting kind of end to the day here. Let me make an announcement here real quick. But like I mentioned earlier today in the free chat, I did have something kind of cool that I wanted to share with you guys. A video that I saw. I took a screenshot of it, so. Yeah, today Charlie Kirk was at my school. I went and watched it, a little bit of it. Texas A&M is a predominantly conservative school, so it was a lot of people just kind of went up there and said, "We love you, Charlie. You're doing great." That kind of stuff. There were a few people that said, had some disagreeing questions, but it wasn't anything crazy. There's another event tonight that actually is starting in like 30 minutes. But whatever. Not as exciting. There was, there's a bunch of, like Democrat activists, content creator kind of people. They were running around doing live streams and interviewing, students and stuff, and just kind of making fun of us, over and over again. And then there was this traveling group of people. Excuse my language, but they're called the Unfuck America organization. So they were obviously against Charlie Kirk, and they were screaming "liar, liar, liar" like as loud as they could, just trying to kind of ruin the event. That was kind of the only thing that happened today. It wasn't as exciting as I was hoping. Charlie Kirk is like a right-wing activist kind of thing. Duco, you can look him up or whatever, but yeah, interesting to see. I've only seen him online, so it's kind of cool to see him in person. But yeah, he's good. But yeah, that was interesting today for sure. Anyways, there's not that many people here on Discord, but we do have some people on X and YouTube. So I told everyone I'm not going to this kind of whole thing I want to talk about. I'm not going to do it in over text, but Yeah. Yeah, no, Latvian, that's my take on it, right? I don't care right, left, whatever. If you disagree with him, like the whole point of his kind of show or whatever he puts on is for you to go up there and ask him questions and disagree with him, and then he will sit there and just kind of calmly debate you. But they took the stance of just screaming and screaming and screaming, and some students turn around, they're like, shut up, like, we're not here for you, we're here to listen to him, and you're just going to scream and just like ruin it. Go up there and actually ask something or say something. They're literally just screaming liar and just like pushing and messing with students. And I mean, they were 50, 60-year-old people. It was really weird. They definitely got their fair share of backlash from students, but um, yeah, it was interesting to see that. But then again, A&M is a predominantly conservative school, so it wasn't a whole lot of fun, like crazy interactions, which honestly is what I think a lot of people go for. But whatever. So I'm gonna try to. So this like kind of video topic thing that I watched last night, and I hope you guys watch trading videos on your free time. If I'm doing it, I would really hope that you are. I always watch educational stuff. Any videos I can find, I tend to watch. And I can tell if they're worthwhile pretty quickly. But this was an interesting take on just trading in general, especially as a new trader. So I'm going to try to regurgitate this the same way that the guy did in the video. But basically, he starts the video off by writing the dates, 2020, 2021, 2022, whatever, all the way to 2024. And he basically says, if you're still unprofitable with this amount of time, I think that there's two different avenues that you're going down right now that I'm also going to talk about how you should be feeling. And I really agreed with the end part of this. This is why I want to share this with you guys. So basically, he's like, there's two different sides of, this unprofitability. It's, thinking that this is knowledge based, where the more you consume and the more knowledge that you take in, the better you're just going to be over time. And that's just not the case, right? This is a skill. You can know everything about the markets, but when it comes to pulling the trigger in trading, you could be terrible at it. That's why, like at the firm that I used to work at, guys, they had analysts there, guys who just accepted the fact that they're not good traders. They don't really know how to buy and sell really well, but they can pick good companies to trade. They can analyze news really well. So they basically just talk about, just from the standpoint of just considering that being good at this is just learning as much as you can over and over and over again. It's just not it's not the right way to look at this. Again, it's a skill. So the next side of this is outcome based, like bias. Like basically, you get these dopamine hits from the outcome of trades, right? So you're really happy when you make profit, right? And a lot of people just trade so they can hit that sell button and make money, right? And they're real happy, their day's good. But on days when they're red and they don't get that dopamine, they their day is terrible, they're sad, whatever. And that's trading simply for the outcome. Okay. And your brain is going to crave that. So a lot of new traders, they crave that profit. They crave that quick options day trading stuff. And I mean, I'm not going to lie, that may be a reason why I picked this style of trading that I do. But I had to overcome a lot of those mental like challenges because I chose one of the most chaotic ways to trade. And so, basically just kind of, I'm sorry, this may not be totally clear, but I'm just trying to regurgitate what I remember from the video. But there's the knowledge-based outcome, right, where you think you learn a lot more. Then there's the outcome-based kind of like, I don't know, I forgot what he has like a synonym here, like OBF or whatever, acronym, whatever it is. Anyways, where you just get the dopamine hits from profits or whatever. But what's going to make you profitable in trading, and I think this was a huge turning point for me in my trading, because I had to deal with a lot of the ups and downs in the beginning, and I basically based my success on how much I make or how much I lose. What's going to make you a profitable trader is not getting dopamine and not getting this craving for the profit or the loss, but the fact that you followed your system. Does that make sense? It's not about the buy and the sell and the profit, or the buy and the sell and the loss. It's about being happy and, quote unquote, getting that dopamine hit by just knowing that you followed your system. So you're never super happy about a profit and you're never super sad about a loss. You're consistent, and you could be happy with yourself that you followed your plan. You followed your system. And that is where you're going to completely take yourself outside of the profit or loss, whether that's comparing yourself to bigger traders with bigger accounts with bigger profits that you want to get to. So then you're going to be trying to trade for the bigger profits over and over again, and you're going to go against your system, go against your rules, et cetera, et cetera. When really your mindset, guys, should be to find that system, really critique it until it's good, and then you follow it. And that's when trading is not going to be so up and down, like an emotional roller coaster of doing really, really good for a month or two, and then doing really bad for another month, and doing really good for a month or two, and then doing really bad another month. Because then on those down months, you probably, there may be times where you're going to quit. And our whole, like as a teacher here, like my whole job is to take you away from that, right? Try to steer you in the direction of a system-based trading. That's why, I never really love to talk P&Ls. I want to talk percentages, and I want to talk system. Where is your target? Where is your stop loss? Where is your entry? Why did you want to take this trade? So, that goes back to whenever I'm like, hey guys, like if you have any takers you want me to talk about, people just like throw a taker at me, and that's fine, right? I can pull it up and I can tell you what I think about it. But I want you to get to the point where you're like, Ethan, I want you to look at PLTR because I want to buy it based on this reason at this price. Like my stop loss will be here, and I think my target should be, here and here, right? Like that is a well thought out trade idea, theory, case, whatever you want to say. But it'll take you more into the realm of a system. Okay. And I know that's kind of like cliche or kind of cheesy or whatever, but it's true. You got to have a system in this. And once you get enough time under your belt where you're just like, I don't care what the market's doing. I don't care if it's going way up, way down, sideways, in a circle, up and down. I don't care. I'm going to do what my system tells me to do. If the market's the right environment for me, cool. Maybe I'll be a little bit more aggressive. If it's not the right environment, I'm not going to be aggressive. Are we getting big time frame breakouts or breakdowns? Great. Then I'll be trading those. Are we chopping in the middle of a range? Okay, then I'm not going to be trading, right? Y'all hear me talk about this kind of stuff. And it's not because I don't want to make money, guys, right? I mean, we're all here to make money. We all want to make money doing this. We all want to make a ton of money doing this. But believe me when I tell you that I went through all those early struggles, with the ups and the downs and the chasing and the full porting and the blowing accounts, right? I did all that because I was chasing the money. I was chasing that dopamine, right? And those big losses hurt so much more than the big wins did, right? Because, you don't get that pleasure and whatever. Once I got myself out of that, I think a lot of that had to do with the time I had in the market, right? And once you get 4, 5, 6 years into something, you're not so focused on the next day, right? So I do have to, attribute a lot of like my different mental like angle on this stuff to the time I put into it. But I think it's I know it's a little bit easier said than done, but it can be really easy to implement if you just sit down or like look yourself in the mirror, excuse me, and just like, write this stuff down. I tell you guys a journal. I tell you guys to write down your trade ideas. I tell you guys to do this stuff. And one of the last coaching lessons I had, I asked everyone, who actually can confidently say that they journal every day, and nobody could. So there's only so much that I can do or tell you guys, but I do think that topic was really important because it kind of gave me a different way to explain this stuff to you. It's not about the profit and loss, and it's not about how much you know, right? I've told you that the head trader at the firm that I used to work at says the number one rule in trading is you don't know anything at all, right? And that's true. I don't know what the market's going to do tomorrow. I don't know what it's going to do in 5 minutes. But I know that if I follow my system that I've followed for years, that I will have a positive outcome over time. And I just, if you stick to it, the math won't lie. Obviously, if the markets change, you're going to have really good months. You're going to have slow months, but you should never be having really, really bad months. So does that make sense to you guys? I thought that was a really interesting topic, and just an interesting video to, but I don't know. I love that, but I will. I'll find a link to the video. I think someone just asked for that, and they'll probably explain it a little better than me. I'm literally going off a screenshot from my camera roll at the end of the video. So let me look it up here, and I'll send it to you guys. But it was really good. Are there any thoughts on that? Any feedback? Any comments? This dude has some really cool videos. Let's see if I can find it here. 1 second. There it is, right here. Looks like there's some other good videos on this guy's page as well, but yeah, okay, good, Duke. I'm glad that resonated with you. I think I was honestly like blown away by it. Just the way that he explained it was great. All right, I just got that link here. It's on Instagram, so I don't know how many of y'all use Instagram, but let's see if that actually works. Yeah, it does. It's cool. That dude's page is like he has, and the way he draws it out and stuff makes it even better. So hope you guys go and watch that. But yeah, so I won't keep harping on that. But if there's any questions about that or other comments, I would love to hear it from y'all. I thought that was great. And I don't think I would ever have explained that way without hearing that. So it's cool. So what else, guys? I only do this once a week. So you free guys in here, if you have questions, it's your chance. If not, we can just kind of hang out, talk market. But my lesson-based stuff is more so with my coaching people. Anyone struggling right now? Anyone do good today? I had a kind of a weird Amazon trade. Feel like I kind of messed it up a little bit. I could have held a lot longer, but it just didn't trade out nearly as well as I thought early on. So, I was kind of in right at this high of the day. Broke through, took a little profit, pulled back in, held this key level, bounced back up. I kind of took the rest of my profit around here. 171.40, 171.30. And then it just went all day. I mean, these contracts are up over 100% on a Tuesday. Is crazy. Good, Latvian. Well, I would love to know, privately if you want what's been going on, but I'm glad you caught that. That trade would have been insane. I mean, just right off the open, just ripping. To me, Netflix. This is why I want to catch Netflix so bad because, guys, I mean, if you can catch a 20-point move off the open like that, I mean, you can make 100% on contracts that are $400, $500, $600. So you can make a ton of money on something like Netflix. I was saying, Latvian, that if there's we could talk in DMs if there's anything going on negatively in your trading because you said it cheered you up. So I'm always here for you, man. Yeah, the psychology behind it was pretty simple, and I agree. I think it's just been struggling for my whole life, whatever really being able to do live. Yeah, I mean, stick man. Everyone has problems. I'm not like disregarding anything you've gone through, but you got the cards you're dealt, and the best thing you can do is be positive about it and keep moving forward. I think you have that resiliency about you to where you'll just keep going, and that's good. Good. Well, I'm sure Pookie did well with that. I did well today. Got a great entry on a Nike call. I felt like I really understood the price actions doing well after hours. Nice. So is it kind of a swing trade, Michelle? Let's see. It's at 58. Yeah. So a nice little gap trade up here. It looks like that's good. I've heard of some people buying Nike recently. So great job. Yeah, that's a good looking trade. It's a safe, kind of a slow trade, pretty simple risk management there. Yeah, and that's a good way to look at it. My rule of thumb is if I'm going to take a high time frame trade, I'm going to watch it on a high time frame, right? Why would you plan to hold something for 2-3 days based on these bigger time frame levels and then watch it on a 1 day or a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart? It makes no sense, right? Because that's not the style of trade. So, if I'm looking to scalp something, of course, I'm going to be on shorter time frames. So I'm looking for a smaller move. If I'm looking for a bigger move, I don't want to look at small time frames. So that's great. I'm glad you've noticed that and you're implementing that. It sure is, Stick Man. It sure is. Great job, guys. I love seeing this in here. Let's see who else. Fast Subi, what's going on? Danny, Just Jen, Shin. Shin, what trade have you been taking lately? JT, Plays, what's happening? Manda. Amazon's when you stopped it a little early. Yeah, it was kind of a shaky trade, but I think in the grand scheme of things, our contracts were never down too much. Bull put out an inverse iron condor on Tesla right before close. Is that sorry? I don't really know how iron condors work with earnings. So did it work out good since Tesla went up a little bit? Is that where you want it to stay within a certain range? Ethan, I wish I found you earlier in my journey. Money I spent on coaching would have probably been better spent. Yeah. I still get nuggets from your free content, so I appreciate that. Yeah, well, that's great, Michelle. I'm so glad you're here. And I'm always here to help you whenever you need it. So I'm glad you're seeing some success. I can just see it in your comments that you're progressing. So that's great. It's a four-way spread, calls and puts at the same time. Okay. I would work and let my stocks or options run. I keep selling too early. Well, are you selling at your targets, Subi, or are you just selling early just because you're kind of worried? Because to me, that's a simple fix, right? If you're selling based on emotion, maybe you're sized up too big, or you're just worried to take a loss. When really you should just be entering and have a target in mind and stick to it, and then have a stop loss, obviously, that you're comfortable with. So never has two debit spreads. You wanted to have it didn't have enough move yet for profit. Okay, interesting. Did you realize your mind changed once you reach a certain profit in your overall trading? Obviously, like, I'll never forget my first $1,000 day, which was probably 2 or 3. I think it was 4 years ago. It was my freshman year. So I'll never forget that, and that kind of made me feel like, okay, like you're actually doing this, and like there's not, there could be some real money here. But that kind of got to my head because I would have $1,000 days quite frequently when the market was really hot, and then you just try to go for some really big home runs. I could crush you. So that was 4 years ago. So I don't know. To me, it's not so much profit wise. I don't know. I'm trying to find a way to like perfectly answer that, but I think my mindset changed when I finally just like was like, you're either going to quit doing this or you're going to write out a set of rules. You're going to write out your trade ideas every single day. You're going to recap every single day. You're going to have to put this work in, or this is never going to work, because you see a lot of success and you can prove to yourself that you can do this, and then you blow everything up in a day or one trade or 1 week, right? I mean, there are times where I blew up 2-3 months of profits in a day, early on in my career, just because it was like a trade that you just felt was so certain to work, and it didn't. And then you over leverage, and then you average down, and you get crushed, right? All it takes is 1 day for you to do that. So I had to come to the realization, it's either, Ethan, maybe you miss out on some trades, maybe you miss out on some money, or you just simply stick to your size and your stop loss no matter what. And then there's not even a question that can happen again, right? So I don't know. That's just kind of the way that I looked at it. It was like, you're either going to make this change or you're done, because it's a complete waste of time to spend as much time as you're doing on this, to do really good for 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then to blow it up, so quickly, right? It's like, and I also would tell myself a way to make sure that doesn't happen is to just simply have a stop loss, right? Have a max loss for the day. It's so simple. And if you can't do that, then you can't be a trader, kind of thing, I don't know. That's just kind of the way that I looked at it. I think my first option trade today went well. I sold it by the end of the day. Nice, NG. I'm glad. Welcome to the options world. I've been wheeling forward. JW, HR still. Yeah, it's kind of been weird the last couple of weeks. Bull, Duco. There's very little trading that I've been doing, honestly, and any trades I take are really small. Having a hard time trusting price action like this last. I think it's up and it's exciting. I'm feeling pressed by one tweet of news. Yeah, that's just the environment right now, Latvian. And with options, right, all the IV is up, so you're paying more than you typically do. So these contracts are moving more than they typically do, which makes it harder on us, because with the amount of volatility, right, the contract prices go up, so the options dealers make more money, right? Because they can sell them for more, they get more commission, goes on down the line. So anyways, I think that's kind of a way to look at it. It's a lot harder right now, but I think I am very glad with, I don't want to get up here and talk about myself, but I'm very happy with the way that I've been trading lately, even if I'm, not up a ton of money by any means. My trade count has gone down and my sizing has gone down. So in an environment when, things are moving crazy, I could maybe make some good money, but it's not super, clear to me. Like I'm not confident in my criteria and my system working right now. So I kind of back off. That's what keeps you alive. Because I know that, okay, when an easy bull market comes around, I got all my capital still. Maybe I made a couple bucks down in this crazy chop sesh. And then I could just really hammer it. And then, I'll know like, okay, the market's ready. And then you push it. Having a target and stop identified. Yeah, 100%. 100%. But also not being biased. Yeah, right. Exactly. It's like, especially if I'm trying to trade the upside or the downside, I always kind of, especially right now, I have to have that mentality. Like this could all reverse, right? We could wake up tomorrow morning and something happened crazy overnight, and SPY could be back to 525 or 520. We just don't know, and that's kind of why I'm a little iffy swinging right now. But the swing trade that I signaled earlier today was to me a very low risk trade money wise, but obviously a high risk in the chance that it could be a red trade. So I never want people just to lose money that they're not comfortable losing. I was comfortable risking a little bit of my profits from the day on a scenario like this. Netflix has been really strong. Obviously, I got a little lucky with the Trump tariff stuff and Tesla earnings going up. But Netflix by itself was barely broke all-time highs today. It's been extremely strong. Volume is there. This is like when it could really, when it breaks through all-time highs. I mean, this could really get squeezing. So with the strong market, I mean, we went from 1005 to 1064 today, guys. So if we can make another 5% move tomorrow, we could be at 1075, 1080, 1090, 1100. Who knows what can happen with this? Especially on all-time highs move, things could squeeze a little bit. So that was just kind of my thought process there. I'm willing to buy a $400 contract. Netflix isn't going to go to zero overnight. So worst comes to worst, and we drop like 100 points and I lose $400, right? That's not going to affect me day to day. Okay, that's not going to blow up my account. It's not going to do anything harmful to me. Obviously, I don't want to lose $400, but I just know that's like the worst case scenario. So a lot of these kind of trades, I look at from a risk point first. Okay, I see an opportunity and then I assess the risk. And if the risk makes sense, I take the trade because I know that I like the opportunity and I'm willing to lose what I'm willing to risk. Is Netflix in the exhaustion gap territory? I think that if it has one more big day tomorrow, and maybe we go 1100 and then gap up again, that's when I'd be looking for that exhaustion play for the short. That's typically where you see that kind of stuff on the third to fourth day. Like SMCI had a really famous one back before it split. This was a huge day here that I know some people made a lot of money on. Look, 1, 2, gap up third day, and then this was on a fourth day, but it's either the third or the fourth day kind of thing. Boom, 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 gaps up again, and it's just like absolute tank. And this was like over $1,000. It was like $1,050, $1,070, and it went all the way down to $800 one day. Obviously now it's split, so it's different prices, but same percentage. PLTR. Love to know how you choose your stocks to sell options on. Yeah, Duco is really good at that stuff. I'm not well versed in it at all, so I don't want to give you any wrong information. So I just kind of stay away from the spreads talk because I'm not very good at it. I've never done it. Progress is anything is functional evidence argument. Yeah, Doc, 100%. 100%. That's a great mindset. Yeah, well said. This is, guys, this is not a 1 + 1 = 2 game. It's just not. The simpler you make it, the easier it's going to be, and probably the more successful you're going to be with it. But if you treat it like a game, it's never going to work out for you. It's got to be a system. Some of the best traders I've ever listened to say that the real work happens outside of market hours. It's when you're reviewing your trades. It's when you're back testing things. It's when you're kind of creating what they call a playbook at SMB Capital. Or, like my playbook would be a opening range break on a name that's like gapping up on a catalyst. It would be a break and retest trade on a high momentum name. It would be a big time frame, breakout trade, that kind of stuff, right? Like that would be my playbook. I'm not a guy who's going to trade, like bounces day to day, right? Yeah, sure. I try to buy into this big market dip with equities, but that's a completely different trade, right? That's more of an investment. But again, it's like I'm sticking to my playbook, and sure, I can learn other plays, and I understand reversals and stuff like that, but I just haven't done it much. That doesn't mean they don't work and they're not good, but it's just over time you're going to realize what you're good at, what you like. Yeah, Michelle, I don't know if I talk about it all the time, so I don't want to like annoy people with it, but I basically work for SMB Capital, but their Texas office. I've interned with them for the last 3 summers, so I get to see a lot of the SMB Capital traders executions. Yeah, do it. So like, I don't know if you know Kenneth Sharkness. He's one of their top traders at SMB. I've been on a call with him, not like me talking to him, but I've listened to him talk to some people. I've gotten to see his, like, literally you can see everyone's executions, right? So I can see what stocks he's buying and selling on the millisecond that he's doing it. So it's pretty cool. So yeah. And, like when I interned there, I somewhat have the opportunity just to fly to New York and go into their office because I'm under their Texas branch. So it's kind of cool. And they have a Miami office as well. Yeah, I'll definitely talk to you on the side, Michelle, for sure. But I hope I'm saying that right, Michelle. Your name, I mean. But anyways, yeah, it was kind of cool. Random opportunity for me. I was in a investment club here at Texas A&M, and I found someone there who had a friend that was interning. You have to be a sophomore at minimum. I told him I was, but I wasn't. I was a freshman, but I also, obviously been trading for a few years. So I knew how to talk trading a little bit, and I got the internship. And I was with 2 other interns. The next year I was with 5. The next year I was with 10. So it worked out. So it's interesting. It's cool. I keep up with those guys a lot, every day. But I talk about this with you guys quite a bit, but just to reiterate it, I was very surprised at the amount of, I was surprised at how willing veteran traders are, like, to help younger guys, right? Because they had mentors when they were starting, so they kind of got to pay it back, right? They're so willing to help you. And I thought it would be the opposite. I would think, okay, we don't want to talk to some junior trader because, we got our own stuff going on. And it's really the opposite. They want to help you because it helps them go through their fundamentals and stuff that they may not think about day to day. And, it's great. But yeah, I'm sure it sounds like you've watched SMB Capital on YouTube and stuff as well. So they're great. They had a recent video of a 22-year-old who made his first $100,000 day, which was cool. So that's like a goal of mine. But obviously, that wasn't his capital. That was the firm's capital. Really cool experience, though. It's priceless. Yeah, it's awesome. And nowadays, to intern at either the Texas office or New York or Miami office. You have to, like when I started, I had a 5-minute phone call with the head of trading, and he was like, "You like trading?" "Yes, sir." "Okay, don't wear a suit. We'll see you June 2nd, 6:30 in the morning." "Okay." But nowadays it's like multiple interview processes. I don't know if you, I'm sure if you watch the videos, you know who I think Jeff Holden, shorter, kind of blondish hair. He does a lot of the interviews for the interns now. So I would have been a little stressed out to do that. But yeah, one of my friends is interning there this coming summer. And he's like, "Ethan, I had to talk to Jeff. I had to talk to I kind of hooked him up with the internship. They basically gave him a free ride, but they made him interview with Jeff, which is kind of crazy, but cool stuff. But it's interesting. I love when people know about SMB, because for you guys that don't know about them, I'll type it in the chat again just so y'all know the name. Y'all should watch them on YouTube. Very, very good, very well-rounded firm. So, well, what else, guys? We've got about 15 minutes here. Any other questions? Any other tickers? Tomorrow, definitely going to be watching Netflix, how that opens. Definitely going to be watching Tesla. I'm going to be watching a lot of these names. Market's up strong. I think we may even gap up overnight. I think there could be some really, really good trades coming. I told you guys at the beginning of the week, um, earnings is coming around, some real movement maybe coming around, and that's where we can start executing. Right? We've seen a lot of chop, a lot of crazy news stuff going on, so we might get a little bit more clear direction. Tariff stuff is starting to die down a little bit, so it's worthwhile being patient and disciplined when things change. It really sucks to blow up and lose a lot of money when the market's not moving clearly and you're not sticking to your plan. And then when the market's good, your account's lower, and then you're just kind of digging yourself out of a hole. Yeah, Dollar Tree. How'd that do today? Nice. Look at that. Up at 82. So looks like we filled that initial gap, but there's that other gap that's way up here. It looks like it starts all the way up at 89 though, but still looks good. I love these gap trades you're taking. That's great. I love your mindset, Michelle. You're killing it. I think the way you're thinking about this stuff is perfect. So I can tell you have some experience. So I love that. Great job. I wish you'd get in the premium though. I can tell you're on the free side, huh? Coaching is $40 a month. That's just going to get you my coaching lessons on Thursday, and also the chat with Ethan that I'm in most of the time. And yeah, so you guys got a good point. You could win a free 30-day premium trial as well. And there's also that 5-day free trial if you haven't done that for premium. You don't have to put a credit card down or anything like that. Well, let's see. I guess I'll chart a little bit here, but questions are dying down a little bit. JT, you got anything you want to Bullwinkle? You too? Just Jen, Amanda, Danny, Hateem 786, Nuclearite. Would love to see you guys chime in if you need anything. Sounds good, JT. Yeah, so let's look around. So obviously Tesla. Well, actually, real quick, I'll show you guys my long-term positions here. So Tesla, I have shares from 243.79. So obviously, I hate that it's not down here in the 230s, but I was kind of buying back in when this started dropping back down. So I'm okay with this long term. So 243.79 on Tesla. Amazon, my average price is 181.54. Meta, I bought some shares yesterday at 486, so I'm happy with that. Let's see here. What else? Google, I have a 156.83 average price. Not as good as I wanted, but I'll take it. NVIDIA, kind of the same thing here. I have a 109.26 average price on that. So didn't execute as well as I was hoping on NVIDIA. But, I was buying in on this dip kind of down here before this last new low. And I think that some chip news or maybe more tariff news came out. Those 3 days, boom, boom, boom. Dang it. But bounced back up, obviously pulled back a little bit recently. So I think long term, these prices are good, but I still have some cash on the side too. So if we do see another crazy dip down, I'll probably buy the rest. But this is stuff that I just kind of wanted to buy in on these crazy discounts and then hold for, a couple years, not more. Yeah, geez, 116. That's insane. That's insane. All good, just Jen. Hi, Ethan. Hope you're well. Yeah, I got stuck in NVIDIA at 111, locked in my capital. I also got stuck trading RH at 210. Restoration Hardware, huh? Interesting. Let's see, how'd you get in that at 210? Well, obviously, I hope those were long-term plays and you didn't just, blindly buy those Hateem and then just bought and just, ended up holding for a lot longer than you planned. But happy to help you if you have some more insight on that for me. Do you think it's going to be another deep red day again? I don't think it's going to be a red day. I mean, right now the market's gapping up. We're up 2% right now on NQ. We're up about $10. Sorry. Starting to get a little sore throat, guys. It's not good. Up about $10 in SPY. So that is so I don't think it's going to be a deep red day tomorrow. I mean, obviously this could reverse after the market open, but I do think there's going to be some strength simply because Tesla earnings, we're up a little bit. And then Trump talking about how the tariffs will be reduced on China. That was positive as well. And I think that's honestly most the tariff stuff was the big thing. And then obviously, Tesla to me is going to be a good watch because one, their earnings, two, they mentioned, Elon is going to be taking more time off from Doge and putting more time back on the Tesla. So that was an interesting trade whenever he was buying Twitter, because Tesla got hit really hard because investors thought he was going to be taking time away from, Tesla and be focusing on Twitter. So once he came out publicly saying that he's going to still spend a lot of time, he's taking time back away from X and he's going to go back to Tesla. That's when Tesla really had a nice bottom and it started ripping again. So Trump mentioned him and G will meet early in the month, and Elon said he'll be back at Tesla at the end of May. Yeah, so that's a good point. I think next month, guys, I mean, I know it's kind of been slow the last 2 months, but I really do think the next 2-3 months are going to be great. And you got to think we're only 4 months into the year. We got 8 months that could be really, really solid. It's been a crazy start to the year, but, back to just knowing when to be on defense. If you can just ride this out and not completely blow up, ideally you don't lose much. But if you have, I think there's going to be a lot of opportunity here in the future for you So, really focus. Don't get lackadaisical. Try to really hone in on your process and your system, and put the work in, because it'll be worth it if you can come out by the end of the year nice and green on your account, and you'll look back at March and April and say, you know what, if I would have just slowed down, I'd be even more green than I am now. Those are little things, I'm telling you, that when you journal and you can look back on, that really help you stick with this. Because if you just focus day to day, it's hard. No, it was supposed to be a trade action. RH, I thought earning would be good. However, I got a double whammy of bad earnings Liberation Day on RH. Are you talking about Restoration Hardware? Or are you talking? You couldn't be talking about Robinhood. Okay. To keep a stop, by the time I checked, it had gone down to 180. Okay. Well, the team, those are just little lessons. Like write those down. Remember those, so you can learn from them. Think about why you did those things. Think about what you could have done differently, and in the future, you'll be prepared to make sure that doesn't happen to you again. You know what I mean? Yeah. Yeah, the Liberation Day stuff is kind of interesting. Yeah, try to think long term. Yeah, guys. I mean, look, especially trading earnings stuff. I think the longer you do this, the more you're just not going to be worried about how big a stock's going to go up or down. If you have long-term investments, right, maybe you want to pay attention to earnings. But at least for me, I know when earnings are coming around. So I know, okay, like, I knew last week Tesla's got earnings on Tuesday, maybe kind of trading weird the week before. Monday, yesterday, don't want to touch it. Tuesday, earnings that day, don't want to touch it. After earnings, boom, I can have some direction. Contracts will, the IV will come down on those. It'll be a little bit easier to trade and stuff like that. So it's like, I'm never going to gamble earnings. Like, I'm just not doing that. I used to do it, way, way back when. And, I'll never forget. It was on Apple, and I bought Apple calls, and they had the biggest quarter in revenue in history of the company. And then Google and Microsoft did bad on their earnings, and the whole market tanked. And Apple tanked with it. So no matter how good the news is or how confident you are in something, fundamentally, earnings are a complete gamble. And honestly, you have it's much harder to win on earnings than to lose, right? Losing, you can lose a lot easier. So maybe that means you're supposed to be selling options into it. I don't know, but earnings are extremely hard, and they could kill you if you're not careful. So there is to me, there's not a good earnings trading strategy, right? You can do spreads and stuff, and that's kind of a different thing. But if you're just going to go naked long options on earnings, it's not a very profitable way to do that. So I highly recommend you guys to stay away from that style of trading, because obviously I know how y'all are thinking. You're thinking about how much money you can make if a stock can go up on earnings. And you also are going to look at a couple tweets and a couple news articles and think there's no way this company doesn't do good on earnings, right? No one knows, right? That's why there's estimates. Nobody knows. If people knew beforehand how good they were going to do, how bad they were going to do, there wouldn't be earnings. Yeah, yeah. Their their earnings numbers have to be better than expected for a big move. And that's why IV is involved, guys. That's why they jack up the option prices, so you pay more. So if the move isn't, out of the ordinary, you're going to lose money. So you gotta get really lucky. Like I said, it's like less of a chance than a coin flip. It's like going to a casino, but the house has like a 70% chance of winning. Sure, you can win, But is it worth losing money taking a trade like that? To me, it's not. Running is a complete gamble. I've lost on calls where the company had record revenue and it still went down. You never know what type of reaction you're going to get. 100%, Rollin. 100%. And you got to learn the hard way. I had to learn the hard way. And now I've stayed away from it. I mean, I've taken thousands of trades. So, I've been there and done that on a lot of different things, guys. I used to penny stock trade. I used to swing trade only options. Um, I mean, I thought finding option order flow is like the cheat code to the market early on, probably my first year. Learned what options were, found option flow, thought, oh my God, someone bought $100,000 worth of Tesla calls. Or, you know, I remember PDD was one. Someone bought 100,000. I didn't even know what PDD was, the ticker. And I just thought that $100,000 was like crazy. And I would just blindly buy calls on them. So believe me, guys, I have done every to me, I've probably made every single mistake you guys have made 10 times over. So that's why I want you to be vocal and I want you to speak up about those issues because I had to overcome them as well. Now, I'm not perfect. No trader's perfect. But the simple new trader issues that a lot of you guys struggle with, I know how to deal with them. Yeah, TK, that's good. Yeah, I mean, I'm interested in PLTR. Um, I think this 100 break is going to be great. I think especially with the strength we're seeing right now, I have a feeling we're probably going to be up at 100 tomorrow morning. But I'm very interested in this trade. 99 blast to 100. Look for maybe another dollar or two move. Just for me, kind of a scalp I'd look for. But you know, I do think with this little gap here from like 99 up to like what 101, 102. So that kind of lines with what I'm looking at here. I think I wouldn't even focus so much on this gap here. There's another gap up here from like 109. That's to me not a target for tomorrow, but to me, just like this kind of like cup and handle trade here looks great. So PLTR is going to be a pretty top watch for me tomorrow as well. Ideally, I can come in, boom, catch PLTR, give Tesla 10, 15 minutes at the IV, settle on those contracts, then find a momentum trade on Tesla tomorrow. I hate it too, guys. I'm not scheduled to live trade tomorrow. Let me see if I can work around something though. So we'll have to take off Friday live trading. I know that. Let me see here. Let me see. What's up, Porter? Yeah, we're about to wrap things up here any minute, but yeah, I do really like PLTR. So I'm gonna see if I can switch. So I know I have to take off Friday live trading because I'll be on a flight, but um, if I can switch with Mad Maverick for tomorrow, that'd be great. All right, I just sent the text. Let's see if we can figure that out. Yeah, definitely. But anyways, guys, yeah, any last minute questions or other tickers y'all want me to yeah, maybe Noah. Maybe Noah can pick up on Friday. That'd be kind of fun. Some ZRGTE spy trades. Make people millionaires. Yeah, I know. It's just insane. Yeah, it's wild. That's wild. I've heard Sinners is really good, Porterhouse. I want to watch that too. Also, that Warfare movie. Been waiting to watch that. I may try to go see that tomorrow night since I'm not teaching. Oh man, yeah, team. Take care, man. Good night. I'm gonna wrap things up as well, guys. So um thank you all for being here. It's always fun. I thought it was a good lesson. I loved that little bit that I talked about earlier about being a system-based, trader rather than always looking just for profit or loss or knowledge. I thought that was good. Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I loved all your comments too, Michelle. Very, very insightful. You're killing it. I was. Yeah, I cannot wait to give my one ticket. Will be half their box office revenue. All right. Well, you guys have a good rest of the night. I will keep you posted on if I can take that live trading tomorrow, since I will be not able to live trade. Just I'm literally going to be gone like that, flying for that 1 hour during the live trading. So it's kind of unfortunate, but you got to do what I got to do. Got some stuff I got to take care of. So, all right, guys. Well, you have a good night, and I might see you in the morning. All righty. Could be a big day. Be good. Later.